Today we're talking about a fun topic for any leader. How to lead with persuasion and not manipulation. Let's face it, manipulative tactics can get you ahead in the short run, but in the long run, they erode trust and damage relationships. And if you want a long run of leadership, you probably don't want to lead with manipulation. Today we'll explore some persuasive techniques that I've used in my 17 years of leadership that have helped me out. First things first, understand the power of why. People are more likely to be persuaded by ideas or actions that really speak to the why. To do this, it's important that you just don't say the what to do, but you say the why you want them to do it. It can really help if you try and put yourself in their shoes and reframe it in your mind as being about them and not what you want them to do. This is particularly useful if you're trying to convince somebody to do or adopt something that they're really digging in their heels about. It could be convincing an employee to adopt a new process. For instance, instead of just saying, "We are adopting this new way of doing things and we really need you to just do it," try coming at it from their point of view with validation around what their thinking around this could be. So you could say, "If I was you, I would feel just the same as you do. You've been doing it this way for years. It's fast and easy for you. Why should you change?" You can then move into saying the why you think that they would benefit from the change. So you have first acknowledged them and what they might be feeling and validated how they're feeling. So hopefully they are more open to hearing what it is you're trying to do and why you're trying to achieve it. Then you can connect what you're trying to achieve by changing this process and how their contribution is going to make a difference. The next persuasion technique is to focus on collaboration, not dictation. Effective leaders collaborate. You can present your ideas, but also offer the opportunity for feedback and discussion around them. Then listen actively for any concerns and perspectives. A handy tip is also to use an individual's name when you're speaking to them or trying to persuade them to do something different. It helps build trust. When you build consensus and address potential roadblocks together, people are more invested in the success of the initiative. So if you're adopting a new way of working, it is a lot easier to get long-term success if everybody is on board. Sometimes this can feel like this takes longer, but the time invested up front getting feedback and hearing from others and then being able to articulate what it is that you're trying to achieve will really benefit you in the long run, as those people are more likely to be committed to the purpose that you're trying to create. It is a two-way street though. Be prepared to adapt according to the feedback and the discussions that you have. The next tip on persuasion is the art of storytelling. Stories are powerful tools for persuasion. Facts and figures are important, but stories connect with people on an emotional level. Weave compelling narratives that illustrate the benefits of your vision. Let's say that you're proposing implementing some new communication software. If you can, share a story from other parts of the organisation or perhaps other organisations that have adopted the same communication software and how their transition went. It is actually better to include the lessons learned from that experience and how they adapted to challenges, as it acknowledges that there will be a period of adjustment for everybody and helps manage expectations. But make sure you include the positives. What is it that will actually benefit the people that you're talking to? If you're talking to your senior leadership team about wanting to implement this new software, you will probably focus on cost savings, improved customer or client service, or a reduction in resources. A tip that can also help in these type of scenarios is thinking about the yes ladder technique. So when building a convincing case, you start with the really easy yeses. So for example, to the leadership team, do you want to save money? Do you want to be more responsive to our clients? And you build on that. The idea is to get the yeses that build to the actual ask. I've talked about this in terms of getting to the small yes in my video that's linked on the screen. Now, on the other hand, if you were talking to the team that is actually going to have to use this communication software, you would want to highlight the positives for them individually. So perhaps it's a fairer distribution of calls if it's a phone system, or it's easier to use and reduces double handling. People are more likely to get on board if they can visualize the positive outcomes for them individually. And it's also very powerful to have in mind the what's in it for me mentality. The next tip in effective persuasion is around empathy. Persuasion thrives on empathy. Put yourself in your team's shoes. Understand their concerns and challenges and make it into a two-way dialogue. Active listening will be part of building this communication and getting a real understanding of what any barriers might be. So if you need some support with active listening in your leadership, watch the video that I've linked on your screen. Take the time to address any concerns that individuals might have with empathy. This builds trust and a collaborative environment where persuasion becomes a natural consequence of your leadership. Now, a manipulative leader might dismiss any of these concerns, but an influential leader acknowledges these and seeks solutions together. This can mean that the outcome could look slightly different to what you thought it was going to, but the ability to get to the overall goal is part of being a persuasive leader, so that you can discern between what is the really important thing that you need and what you could let go of. So for example, in talking to your team about the communication software, you realize that for a few people, the software is actually going to make their job harder and they're going to have to do a manual workaround. Instead of going with the really easy manipulative route, which could be, oh, look, we're just going to implement it now and we'll definitely address those concerns later. Don't worry, it'll all be taken care of, which you're definitely not going to be able to do, and have no intention of following through on this. You just want to get it across the line. I would suggest that you actually sit down and talk to them about it and why it is that that manual solution has to be the outcome. Empathize with their position and try and come up with a solution. You may not be able to fix it, but if you know about it and you don't discuss it with them, you'll never know if that opportunity could have been done at the start. And at least if they do end up with a manual workaround, you would have worked through it with them and they'll understand why their outcome was reached. So at least they're persuaded to get on board with the idea, as although it doesn't directly help them, they know that the benefits will exceed what their individual needs are. By focusing on the why, fostering collaboration, leveraging storytelling, and leading with empathy, you can become a master persuader who inspires and motivates your team, not manipulates them. True leadership is about building trust and genuinely trying to support your team to achieve goals together. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe, because then I'll know that you liked it and I'll make more content that is similar. Thanks very much for watching.